Now we're at the portion of the course. I'm going to take a little sidestep from the leash walking and all that activity of eye contact, and we're going to start working on husbandry training. Husbandry training is for environments like the vet, the groomer, or any time your dog is going to have to be handled. Its nails done, its ears done, that type of thing. It's really important that we take the time every day to handle our dogs and getting them used to touch. But some dogs don't like to be touched. Some dogs have social pressures, so they have boundaries and have issues with people coming into their space. So for those dogs, we have to go nice and slow and reward very high and reinforce all those little things that they're able to give us. A little toe touch, a little ear touch, a little tail touch. This is all built very slow and systematically. You want to build trust in your dog, trust from your dog in you to be able to handle them, and they'll be safe. Vet visits is something a dog just hasn't got any control over, but they are necessary for the life of your dog. And for some of you, grooming is going to be a big part of your dog's life. Every 2 months, they're going to have to go and see a groomer. So they have to be okay with being handled. In this portion, I'm going to focus on restraint training. Restraint training is when you take your dog and you hold them close to you and then you release them. This is one big element that vets have told me over and over. If there's one thing you could teach puppy people with dogs, is that to train their dogs to accept being held close and released. And this is because vets have to take blood. They have to put a thermostat, a thermometer, up your dog's bottom to check their temperature. They have to get in there and check the ears, the teeth, the paws. They may have to lay them down to dress a wound, to take care of a wound. And your dog needs to know, they need to be able to cope with all this activity, this physical activity, which can be really scary for a dog. So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate what a good resistant hold looks like. And then I'm going to pop over and we're going to show it to you on Louie, because he doesn't like me coming into his space all the time. So he's really a perfect example of how slow sometimes you have to go. And this is a work in progress with him. We're always working on this on a regular basis. But don't forget to keep handling your dog's paws, and you want to split out their fingers, rub your hand over their ears, lift them up, look inside. And every little step you make with your dog, mark and reinforce. Mark and reinforce. Lots of gold stars for allowing you to look in their ear, for lifting their lips so you can look at their teeth. And be mindful that the back end is a very vulnerable place for a dog. A lot of dogs, you'll reach for them and they turn because they want to see where that hand is going. Or a dog will turn and face another dog because they don't want them going to their back end. That's a very vulnerable place. Keep in mind too, when a dog lays down, they're in a very vulnerable position. They can't get up and run away. So we need to help our dogs feel comfortable with this. And the work starts now in puppyhood. And if your dog is resistant to their paws being touched, their tail, you've got some work to do. But just go slow. Accept a little bit, reinforce. A little bit, reinforce. A little bit, reinforce. Build acceptance and behavior in small steps. So this is my decoy dog. He's very well behaved. And I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like when we wrap our arms around our dogs and pull them in tight. Take your right arm and put it right up over your dog's shoulder, and take the left arm and put it round his bottom and over his hip if your dog is big enough. This is another option, is to hold your dog underneath his chest and around his chest so the vet can get into the back end. Let's look at that again. And pull in tight and release. Mark and reward. Now I'm going to demonstrate, if you have a small dog or work with your puppy, put them on a table, you wrap your right arm around their neck and your left arm around their back end and right around their hip. Pressure, release. Right hand around their neck, left hand around their bottom on their hip, pull in, pressure, release. Louis doesn't like to be handled. He likes to keep a little bit of space from me. So this is an area of training that we focus on a lot and get him used to being close to him and holding him and pulling him in tight. So now I'm going to bring Louis in beside me. I'm using hand targeting, previously taught, to get him into position. But watch what happens when I go to reach for him. He's already pivoted away his back end from me. Notice how he steps back. He doesn't want me coming into his space. So I'm going to have to ask for something a little bit less, and I'm going to do the chest hold as opposed to the whole body hold. I target him back into place, and now I'm going for a chest hold. I pull him into me and add pressure, then I release. I'm going to try this again. And be mindful, dogs don't like people standing over them. So this is an issue. You have to lean over your dog, and they may be very uncomfortable with that. So I continue to get Louis into position, and now I'm trying something a little bit different, but you see him pull away. He doesn't like to be grabbed underneath his stomach. And now I'm going to try over the chest again with a chest hold, pressure, release. He likes that much better than grabbing from underneath his belly. It doesn't feel good. Now I'm going to try a full body hold and watch what happens. He saw his tail tuck and he steps out. He's not comfortable. So now I'm going to stand up and try a hold from the standing position. I want you to notice how I'm encouraging Louis to work with me, but I'm not forcing him to work with me. Allow your dog a chance to step away. So I'm going to stand over and hold, pull him into me, and release. This is another option instead of grabbing his back end and his front end and pulling him into me. This is a different way to do it. I'm actually asking him to hold his position in my hand, and I was able to get around to the back end. Let's try it again and see if he'll work for me. Once again, I'm asking him to hold. He stepped back, but I can feel him relax as I pull into him. So I continued. Release. When you're working with your dog, look for those signals that express that they might be under some stress. Louis just did a bit of a stress yawn, but I'm still able to put him in a hold. I go slow. If I feel him pull away, I stop. There we go. Pressure. Release. So what I've learned with Louis is that he can go into a nice nose hold, and I can start wrapping my left arm around his back end and then release and hold his chest. And he seems to accept that much easier than going into an immediate full body hold. Training tips. Practice touching every day. Practice pressure release when your dog is receptive. Reward your dog often for small achievements. Resist forcing your dog, but allow them to move away, relax, and come back to you. Keep the training sessions short and successful, and enjoy the process.